Hello there and welcome to a Reviews KK unboxing, and today we're having a look at the Valve Steam controller. This arrived yesterday. I've actually already unboxed the thing once. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my microphone didn't record all the audio, so I'll be taking a look at it again, this time a little better informed, having unboxed it once and had a bit of a play. And yeah, let's get to it. So I mean, straight away, the box is really quite a nice deal. It's got this sleeve. It's quite thick cardboard, and just the usual thing on the sleeve, telling you the contents. The controller, a micro mini USB lead, the USB receiver, and a little vertical dock for the receiver, as well as two AA batteries, which is really nice that they actually include those, because a lot of devices these days don't come with the batteries. And yeah, so straight away got the controller sitting there, which feels very nice. It feels very solid. The build quality, it's better than most controllers I've handled myself. The batteries, they were wrapped obviously, but I've used it now. The receiver, not the smallest receiver in the world, but it'll do the job. Remove this recyclable like cardboard, and underneath we have the quick start guide, which just goes over how to plug in the device and such, how to put the batteries in. The product guide, but that doesn't appear to include much about the device altogether. One thing I would say is neither of these guides tell you anything about the user interface on Steam and how to get to it, and how to map any of the buttons or trackpads, etc. Which I've also found that you can only get to that through the Steam big screen mode. So you do have to run that, but luckily when you plug the pad in, as soon as you press the Steam button, once it turns it on, and then the second time it'll bring up the big screen menu. So yeah, we've got the vertical dock for the receiver, and get the thing the right way, it might help, and a mini USB lead, which can be used either with the receiver dock, or it can be plugged directly into the pad if your batteries are flat. And yeah, straight away the controller feels quite nice. One thing I didn't realise initially, yesterday, was that these trackpads are double up as buttons themselves, and that helps when you customise it a certain way. If you use the left trackpad as a D-pad, you can have it so that you have to click the direction when you pressing to function. And obviously the button under the stick as well. Got your two shoulder buttons, got your two triggers, which are analog with the button at the end, and two grip buttons at the back, your normal A, B, X, Y, back and start, and obviously the Steam button, which is the power button as well for the device. But yes, it feels very solid. A lot better than I expected. And right on the bottom here we've got the release switch, which just pops this back cover off so that you can insert the batteries. Now the batteries go each side. It just takes two AA's, and at first I thought these were a bit snug, which they definitely are, but that's good in a wireless device because you don't want it to lose power and lose connection. But with a little push to go in, and at first I thought this might be difficult to remove them again, but no, they've actually thought about that, and they've included these little push levers, which you just push them back up and it ejects the battery for you. I'm not sure yet whether you can use rechargeables and charge them through the USB. That's something I've yet to test, but I will do in time. One thing I did notice yesterday was it looks like it appears to have two contacts there, and given that this like backplate doesn't really have much complicated to it other than the things to push through for the buttons, I'd imagine that in the future we'll be releasing a rechargeable battery pack that will connect onto those, so you can like have a rechargeable pack like on the controller, which will be a really nice addition, I'm sure. That would be my guess anyway. No confirmations there, but yeah. To put that back on, it's just a simple like slide the two prongs in, clicks back down. But yeah, the general feel of the buttons, everything feels very nice. You know, they're very consistent. You know, you don't find that there's a button that feels different really. You know, these buttons all feel very similar. Your shoulder buttons are obviously slightly different, but again, there's no difference between them. They both feel the same. I know with some cheaper devices you sometimes find that not everything seems equal, whereas this is quite nice with that. Yeah, I've already tried this on a few games. Tried some like Borderlands. I actually also tried Minecraft, which, although it's not a Steam game, any game that you add to your Steam library as a non-Steam product, you can customize the controller to work with it. So yeah, I added like the Feed the Beast launcher for Minecraft, and I was able to customize all the controls and have it so that when I'm pushing the stick, it did WSA and D. If I pushed it slightly, it would hold shift, so that's like sneak, and then push it fully, it'd run like normal. And you know, I could set this up as a scroll wheel, like to go through items. I could set the triggers up so that normally the just press your mouse button, but then when you press the click at the end, it would do like a rapid fire. So if you had a sword, you'd continue swinging while just holding it down. Yeah, so it's really quite intuitive, like with the way you can customize it. It's like the pads, you can add extra functions at the outer edge, so when you get all the way to the edge, like on this or something, you could have it hold down shift or anything like that. You could have a function on the click. Yeah, I mean at some point I want to do a video on like customizing the controls and also playing some games with it. There's just so much to learn with the UI, and unfortunately there isn't really a guide. It's a steep learning curve, and yeah, it's a lot to take in at first, but when you realise the potential and you start playing around, you can really come up with some good stuff with it. If we press that, you can hear it's got like a sounder inside, so it beeps when you turn it on and such, and lights blinking away. When it's actually connected to the computer, that light will just stay on solid, and it's like whenever you're in a game like that you've run through the like big screen mode, you can press that to go to the UI and bring up like an on-screen keyboard where you can use the trackpads to type and such. Don't know if you can hear, but at the moment it's treating this pad like a trackball, so you get haptic feedback as you move across it, and then if your finger leaves it, it will continue to roll on a bit like a trackball. Now you can configure it like another stick, or you can configure it to be like a basic trackpad where it doesn't have that roll on feature. There's, you know, the possibilities are really quite endless with it, and you know, if you spend a bit of time with it, with most games, you can get a setup that you would like yourself. The only like problems I've found is with like one particular game, Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto expects to see either a pad or a mouse and keyboard, and you can switch between the two, but it doesn't seem to like both at the same time. So I found that if I configure this pad as a mouse but then try and fire with the bumper button while I'm driving, if I move the mouse it stops firing. So it's like you have to configure something to be the mouse like fire rather than the controller. I guess, I mean, I've already thought like I could get around this by configuring everything on the pad to just act as keyboard pressers, but obviously that's a lot of work, and you know, I'm not sure how like easy that's going to be. I mean, I hope that Rockstar might just implement something to natively support this controller, but we'll have to see. I'm not sure if they would, given that they're not exclusive to Steam. They do have their own platform. They might not do that. But for a lot of games, like say Borderlands, like 2 and Borderlands: A Pre-Sequel, it worked brilliantly. You know, you got your reload and use on that, like grip button, jump on the other. I configured so that like when I fully push the stick, it would sprint for me. The left pad just switch between weapons. You know, it already had a pretty good setup, and I could customize it a bit to make it that bit better. So I mean, overall, I'm really quite impressed. It's exceeded my expectations in the build quality and the functionality of it. Obviously, the UI thing is still a work in progress. It's, you know, got some bugs, and I'm sure they're still working on it. I mean, as soon as I plugged the thing in, it was updating the firmware on the pad itself. I mean, it also has some sort of gyroscope in it, which you can map as well. I've not managed to get that to work yet. I don't know what the deal is with that. But as for everything else, I've managed to map it in like different games, and it's really quite a nice device. But I don't know. I mean, let me know what you guys think. If there's a particular game or anything you'd like to see me try and play with this, obviously leave me a comment. Any likes or whatever are appreciated. This, you know, is the first video for this channel. I'll also be putting it on my personal channel until I get more established. Yeah. Any comments, questions, leave them below. But for now, this is Reviews KK signing out.